Hello, friends, and welcome back for our final day together exploring the labyrinth. And today I want to introduce you to the idea of walking the labyrinth with your pen or your pencil or your brush. And as you may have read already, it's another way that you can concentrate on different feelings that you have and sensations as you walk it and you feel the marks with your brush. So follow me and I will show you how we can do that together. So you'll want to have a couple of tools at your disposal. A pencil with a good eraser on the back and I like the white vinyl erasers as opposed to the red ones that show up on your average pencils. They just tend to make a mess. The white ones will do a nice cleanup job for you. And some pens. I like to use whatever pen you want to use is fine. I like to use these fine liner pens. I'll grab one of these out and I'll just show you. This has got a really fine point. You can get them in thicker points. Whatever suits you. And we're going to draw our seed pattern. And I like to put the seed pattern usually in the bottom third center of my piece of paper. So I'm just going to use this upper half and I'm going to draw an equidistant arms of this cross here. And it's probably a little too close to the bottom, so you get a feel for where to place these after a while. Practice makes perfect. But I'll go ahead and make the cross there and put a dot in the open corners of each quadrant. And there's our seed pattern. The way this works is if you want to have a labyrinth that you enter from the left side, and you will see more labyrinths in existence that enter from the left side, and I don't know what it is about them, the left-handed versus right-handed labyrinths, but people seem to prefer the left-handed ones. I have some theories, but I won't go into them now. And I'm going to start in this top. Each of these ends, including the ends of the arms, counts as something you're going to work with. So we usually start with this top one in the middle. And we're going to make a curve working from the left to the next available one on the right. So we're going to go from here to here, and I'm going to make a curve. And that basically is going to be our centerpiece, the center of the labyrinth. And then working from left to right always, if you want the entrance to be on the left, I'm going to start on the next available dot and make another curve. And I'm going to try to keep the distance between the lines roughly the same as between the dot and the arms. That's the basic width of our path. And bring it around to the next available dot or end of arm on the right, and that would be this one right here. And I will bring this one out, next available end here, and bring that around. I'm not doing this freehand, so I'm not really worried about how perfect it is. Bring it around to the next available dot or end of arm, which was this one. And I have two left. So always starting from the left, going around to the right. And it looks like I have left myself some room to do that. Again, you'll get better at this the more you practice. They say, take a big piece of paper and draw 10 labyrinths from the seed pattern. And the seed pattern for the 3 circuit looks like that. Next, I like to lighten this up at this point. This is just my guide. So I'm just going to lighten this up with my eraser. And I'm going to just make a thicker border. Because what I want to do is I want to start walking the center path with some kind of a pattern effect or marks. And it'll just show up better if I have a thicker border. And you can make that thicker border any way you like, just basically making the border wider. And for the sake of time, I'm not being particularly careful about this. It's not that important. You'll see that I'm turning my paper, though, to make it easier for me to draw the curves. But what I want to show you now is really the meat of this. And I'm going to make a very simple pattern that basically going to be walking the pen in. And before I start, I'm just making a mark from where I'm going to start. Take a moment and take a deep breath. And imagine that you are walking into the new year, or you're walking into a new situation. You're walking into this labyrinth. And conjure up, maybe bring an intention that we talked about before that might be on your mind, or perhaps just try this visualization that it's winter now, and maybe in this hemisphere that you're in, it's not winter, but up here in Vermont, it's definitely winter, and I'm looking forward to spring. And so I'm going to make a series of marks that remind me of spring and think about the coming spring. And I'm going to make a little stem. And then I'm going to just make a series of baubles. Let's bring that a little closer so you can see this better. You're going to notice I'm going to continue to turn my work as I'm drawing, as if I were following the direction of my feet, and that I'm not just facing this. It's a lot easier to turn the work itself when you're drawing. And I'll just draw another stem, following in that same direction, and create a few more berries or baubles clustered together, thinking about the spring, the coming spring. And another one. You can make them as close together as you like. And I invite you to, just like we paid attention to the way our finger felt when we moved on the paper, or the way our feet and our body felt when we were actually walking with our feet, I invite you to notice the textures of the paper and how it feels with your pen. What's the drag on the paper like? What happens if you go more slowly or if you go faster? What does that feel like? What does it feel like when you turn your work and you continue? Just notice all those sensations that might come up when you're walking with your pen, or if you're using a brush marker or a paintbrush, it would be the same thing. How does the paint lay down? How does the pen mark lay down? And these are the things that you can do on the release part as you're walking inwards. Let that monkey mind go and just pay attention to the drawing. This is a good time to also pay attention to how your body is feeling. I'm assuming you're going to be sitting when you do this, but maybe not. Maybe you're standing and leaning on a counter. So how's your posture, whether you're sitting or standing? Are you slumped over? How are you holding your shoulders? This is a good body check moment as well. Pay attention to how your body feels. If it's uncomfortable, it's a signal to change. Maybe loosen your shoulders and just get into the flow of working with your pen, making the marks, increasing as you walk through your labyrinth with the pen. And I'm going to speed this section up, but I encourage you to take your time with this. You can make the drawing into the path part as long or short as you like, as fast or slow as you like. Do what's comfortable for you, but I encourage you to notice. Notice all of the different feelings. And then let go and just go with the flow. Drawing labyrinths and walking the labyrinth with marks is definitely a slower process. And so if you have to suddenly stop, because you're probably doing this at home, that's fine. You can always pick it up again later. Just come back to it with whatever the intention was, whatever you had on your mind. You can always come back to this later. This is definitely what I call slow art. And notice what comes up for you. And as we've come into the center, again, this is our time to rest, to linger. And when you're ready to begin the walk out, you can do something different to this. So depending on the way you drew into this, you might want to draw something else going back out. For this example, I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to choose a different color. I'll go back to my brown pen here. And I am just going to, for my walk out, I am just simply going to start filling in. Maybe I won't fill this in all the way, but just a little bit. Just fill in the background, walking my way out. Or you could just leave this as it is and trace your way back out with your fingers. There's lots of options. You could even walk your way out by filling in the berries or the grapes. Or adding a leaf. So lots of choices. I'm going to fill mine in.
and I'll meet you at the end. So as I'm getting ready to come out of the labyrinth, and I have filled in, or I had created a pattern or some strokes with a pen on my walk out, I might see what this walk with our pens has brought up for me. And as I see this fuller picture come together, it brings up all kinds of thoughts that I'd like to take with me into the rest of the winter. Just looking forward to the spring and the growth to come, to renewal, to healing, to reconciliation, what I can take back out with me to keep for the long months ahead. So think about what your walk has brought up for you. I would love to hear from you. Feel free to post in the Facebook post for day 7.
So thanks for joining me for this 7-day labyrinth experience, and perhaps this is your year to further explore the labyrinth. I would love to hear from you and post your questions, your comments below.
If you'd like to learn more about working with the labyrinth in your art, be sure to scroll down below.